you said you did 194 offers in a year. I'm sure that was not easy.
No, man. I remember sending our first offer almost feeling like I hope they don't accept it because how are we going to get the money if we buy it to flip it? If we're going to wholesale it, I don't have any buyers. Like, it was literally square one, and just the offer wasn't like it was. It's funny to look at it now, but the guy's response, because we're just on edge, worried about it. And then
now you don't even tripping when you make an offer.
This is what the dude said. He's like, "What is this, an unwelcome joke?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, that wasn't that bad.
That was not that bad. What's the worst that could happen, right?"
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, Michael Burns, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, bro? Stoked to be here.
Good. Well, hey, Investor Thrive Nation, thanks for tuning in. We got my guy right here, Michael Burns. He is amazing at flipping houses. He's been in real estate for a while now, so I got him on the podcast to interview him, ask him some questions about his business, his journey, and I think it's gonna be a good time. We've actually sat down a couple times for lunch, and we've talked a little bit before this. We're just gonna flow today, but Investor Thrive, if this is your first time here on Investor Thrive Nation, this is a podcast basically dedicated to helping people in real estate and not only improve in real estate, but in their personal lives. So we'll see if we can give them some nugs. What do you think?
That's awesome, bro. I'm all about dropping the lifestyle or the lifestyle value, but
let's do it, brother.
We'll get into the lifestyle stuff, but it's about way more than just doing the deals,
It's all about lifestyle, right?
100%.
Yeah, because we do all this to build the lifestyle we want. I'm assuming that's why you grind so hard, right?
Yeah. That's why my company's lifestyle lending, lifestyle realty.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that, man. I didn't know it was lifestyle lending.
Yeah.
And everything else, realty and.
Yeah, so we got lifestyle lending and the mortgage company, lifestyle realty, the brokerage, and then my podcast is Freedom Lifestyle Experience.
Shoot. Dang. Hey, so what we're going to do is in the YouTube channel description, we'll put your podcast and your contact info so people can reach out to you. Is that cool?
Yeah, 100%, man.
So let's just dive right into it. Michael Burns is here locally in Utah in our market, and I've talked to him a couple times before, and he's just crushing it as in real estate. He does many things, but many of you don't know who he is, So for people that don't know who you are, you want to give them a kind of an intro to, who is the Michael Burns?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Mikey Mike?
Mikey Mike, yeah. Mikey Mike, there you go. So I guess I'll just, because it's real estate, my first taste of real estate was growing up. My dad, he had a business, a nursery, and he ended up selling that business probably in like 2004 maybe. Mm-hmm. And I watched him take the money that he made from selling the company, and then he went out and bought a bunch of lots. And this is in like Southern California, kind of a small town.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Tehachapi, California. So anyways, I watched him buy a bunch of lots, and then he partnered with a guy who was like a general contractor and a landscape contractor that he had known for 20 years, and I'd known my whole life. And so pretty much my dad provided the lot, and he fronted all the money to build the house. Yeah. And then this other guy, Roger, basically built the house. And they were doing this like 2004, 5, 6, 7. Mm-hmm. So like they sold their last home. They probably did 20 of them together. They sold the last one right as 2008 was happening.
Shoot.
So I was watching him make all this money doing that, but I was, senior in high school, junior in high school, just got out of high school. So the idea of real estate didn't seem like real that I could do that. Mm-hmm. But that's when I first real estate was on my radar. Like, shit, you can make some money doing this.
Wow.
So fast forward, like in 2011, me and my brother started looking at getting into flips and wholesaling and stuff. So we joined the local RIA, which is actually where we're at here at the campus.
Yeah.
Took us a year and 94 offers, and then we landed our first deal. We made 24 grand on our first flip, rolled into our second flip, lost 50 G's on that one.
Dude, does that still hurt or not
no,
really?
No, dude, it's my biggest losses have been like my biggest financial losses in the moment. It sucks, but they've been my biggest lessons and actually propelled me forward, and just my capacity to handle more when you go through a situation like that and you get out on the other side and you're like, oh, I'm still alive, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, dude, fast forward today, we flip about 40 homes a year here in Utah. I've got 58 unit portfolio. So there's a 40 unit apartment deal. Everything else is just single family stuff here in Utah.
What do you prefer? The multi-unit, the 40-unit, or do you like the single-family rentals?
It's just totally different,
Totally
man.
different.
Like operating multifamily in a different, because it's in Texas, is not. It's not as sexy as everyone thinks it is. Especially like the value add, like we're turning all 40 units. It's not that. It's just not as sexy as people think it is. But it's good, man. It's
So being a
great,
landlord is not that sexy.
yeah. But the cash flow is nice.
Okay.
So we do that. I've got a mortgage company, real estate brokerage. We do some hard money, private money lending, and then we're starting to invest, take equity pieces just in different businesses. So taking the money we're making in real estate and mortgage and stuff, and then either reinvesting that into our deals, lending it out, or like we just bought a 20% equity piece in a medical spa here in Salt Lake. So trying to diversify and take some of this cash and place it into assets and businesses.
That's awesome, man.
Kind of an overview of what we're doing.
That is a sweet overview. I mean,
Yeah.
if people just tuned in and heard that, they're like, yo, this guy's the man.
Yeah.
This guy's a baller.
We've been working at it, man. Like I said, 2012 was that first deal, so going on 10 years in the business and just hustling.
Was there a specific time where you, like 5 years deep, 4 years deep, a certain amount of time where you're just like, yo, I get it. It's clicked. Was there a specific like amount of years that?
Well, so like I said, it took us a year and 94 offers to get that first deal. So like all of 2011, we were learning, going to RIAs and all of that stuff. So, when I adopted the idea of Plan B as reinforcing Plan A, that's like, I guess you could say that was a forced click. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. But no, man, I think when we did that first flip, it was super exciting to make like 24 grand on it. And, I basically at that point walked away from like a sales 1099, like sales broker.
So you were still working at that time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
100%.
you didn't quit your job and your whole year you didn't make any money?
No, dude, I quit my job once. Like I was an independent sales rep, 1099, traveling all over the country, doing just commission-only sales in the nursery business, like slinging trees pretty much.
Were you doing the nursery because of your pops? Like, because you knew that industry?
Yeah, I kind of grew up in it, so I got on the wholesale side of that. And
slinging trees.
Yeah, slinging trees. So that's where I learned sales, because I was out there, I started inside sales. I had a job when I was 19 doing inside sales. I had like a $2 million sales quota. So I got good on the phone doing inside sales, and then basically there wasn't going to be an opportunity for me to get an outside territory with the company I was with. So then I went out on my own. I pretty much got exclusive rights for a couple of different big nurseries to sell their product, like in Western Canada and then 6 states in the Western U.S.
Yeah.
And that's what landed me in Utah. So I pretty much had an opportunity and some hustle. So I'd go out there and I'd literally show up in a town and I'd pull all the nurseries and I'd just go cold call them. Like I'd show up unannounced with a photo album of my shit and a catalog and was cold calling, and I did that thousands of times, in this big territory that I had. So I spent like 4 years building that up.
Any reason you had to drive to those areas and then call them, or couldn't you have called them? Did you call them before you went all the way out there?
So the nursery business is kind of an old school business. It's a face-to-face type of deal. Like once you're one of their suppliers, it's like a long-term relationship thing. So I would show up. Like I'd go to, Boise, Idaho, and I would just like have a list. I'd Google all the nurseries in the area, and then I would just go around town and cold call them.
And by cold call, you mean like just call them on the phone? Or
No, I mean like I showed up and knocked on the door in
Okay.
person. I'd
Sorry.
ask for,
Cold calling, I was like, oh, you're just dialing them.
Yeah,
but you're
thinking real estate cold calls. But no, dude, I would show up like to their business location. I'd ask for the owner.
With
or
the
like
suit and tie or what?
Nah, dude, I'd dress like, like slack, kind of like you're dressed right now.
Got it.
But I'd just roll in, dude, and I had a baby face, looked young, and I'd just roll in and say, hey, is the owner or the manager around? And they'd go get him, and I'd say, hey, I'm Michael. I'm with Leo Gentry Nursery, and this is who we are. This is what I got. And I'd basically try and like get customers. And I did that for 4 years, and I built that up. I was making like 50, 60 grand a year doing that. So I had that rolling, and then all of 2011, so I was out on the road, and my brother hit me up because I was gone all the time, dude. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna be in town this weekend? There's like this free house flipping workshop," and I think it was Dean Graziosi was in town, or his sales guys. So we went.
That's how it usually is. They got the monitor, you know, with his face on there, the screen.
So we went to the little free workshop weekend deal, and then they upsell you on their actual coaching program.
That's right.
So we did, from the time we did that to when we got, so that was in 2011. So then we're like, cool, let's do this real estate thing. We saw Dad be successful with it, building the houses. So then we started going to all the local RIAs and just like going to Home Depot, trying to learn how much shit costs, like just figuring it out, dude.
Yeah.
Like green as it gets, like knew nothing about any of it other than we can make some money doing this,
for
maybe.
sure.
And then, like I said, all of 2011, just kind of learning, writing offers, and getting our stuff going. And then we landed that deal 2012.
So let me ask you a question about the 94 offers in a year.
Yeah.
You said were you writing those on the MLS? Like those were MLS offers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened is we had there was a newer agent. His name was Rob, and like one of my buddies knew him, and he was just getting in the real estate. So it worked out because he was like hungry and wanting to do deals and shit. So the amount of time of this guy's we wasted looking back is I can't believe he like spent as much time as he did. But yeah, dude, we were back then. You could buy stuff off the MLS, so like he was just writing offers for us, and every house was 20 grand, right? We're the rehab. We'd be like, oh, it's probably 20 G's in rehab. 20 grand's 20 grand. So we just slowly like learning the market, like what stuff's selling for.
And he was writing those offers and submitting them for you?
Yeah, writing them and submitting them. So he would have made a buyer's commission, and he was the one pulling comps and saying, hey, like ARV could be this, and we were just. Dude, learning by doing, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
And we just didn't quit, kept going.
What's he up to now? Do you know if he's still in real estate?
I see him. He's still doing retail real estate agent stuff, you know.
He's still staying strong.
I guess, man. I haven't talked to him too much, but I see his stuff on Facebook every now and again, and I think he's just selling houses, like doing agent stuff.
That's cool, man. Well, so I wanted to touch on this. I like what you said about when you were doing the nursery stuff when you were younger. How much do you feel like that 4 years of grinding, right, working really hard, prepared you for, you know, what you're doing now? Like, was that like sort of a college education, or
way beyond that? You can't like there's a lot of stuff you can't learn in a book or going to a seminar, and that's just doing it. And a ton of real estate is that too. Like, you can go to as many classes as you want, you can go to as many seminars as you want, YouTube, books, all that shit. But until you're actually like operating a flip and hiring the contractors and going through the thing, you just can't learn it unless you do it, you know, or have a mentor that you go follow with it. But just to rewind, growing up in a family that had a small business and it being like the nursery and a landscape company, it's like very seasonal, like high pressure, like the economy's not good. Like the last thing people are worried about is the trees in their yard and stuff. So just growing up in that environment, and knowing, you know, hard work and the value of a dollar, and watching my parents operate this small business in a small town was the biggest gift I could have ever been given.
That was huge for you then.
Yeah, so just growing, you know, that's where I learned my work ethic and really understood like relationships, you know, seeing my dad own a small business in a small town for 25 years. Like, he made a phone call and it was done, you know. He needed an IV, he got it on the doctor's front porch at his house.
That's wild, bro. Do you kind of miss that small town lifestyle?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think the small town's cool, but it's one of my strongest. Like, I think my strongest thing is relationships and just my ability to build relationships and connect with people. And I think it's from the small town. So, anyways, I grew up in that environment, and then when I was doing inside sales, I got good on the phone and comfortable making calls and doing that, and then like progressing to doing sales calls face to face in person. You know, cold calling, just showing up. So all of that definitely gave me a really good, strong skill set to roll into real estate, because with real estate you got a little bit of everything, you know.
Do you feel like it's a little bit more advanced, like real estate, than maybe the grinding of, you know, what you did with the nursery? Do you feel like it's a little higher level?
Yeah, dude, 100%, because you're dealing with people on an emotional thing, right? You're trying to buy their house from them, or, you know, on the flipping side, like, you know, you're trying to have, you got the relationships with wholesalers or agents, or just the networking for deal flow to come in, or you're dealing with sellers directly and they're emotional about their home, so you need to negotiate purchasing their home. So that's the buying side. Then you got to have your investors, right? So you got to have building the relationship and raising the money. That's a skill set within itself. And then being able to find contractors, manage contractors.
So definitely a higher level.
Yeah, contractors is a tough breed too. You know what I mean?
Dude, I mean, that's your realm, right? That a lot of people probably think fix and flip is, you know, just find the house, right? But it's not even over at that point.
Nah, dude. Everyone says, you know, you make your money when you buy a house, but I will tell you, you keep your money on executing on the deal. You know,
I bet you got some horror stories with those flippers, with the contractors. You know.
Yeah, dude. I'm in the middle. I've never sued anyone in my life until right now. I've got a contractor that burned us for about 60 or 70 grand between the money that he had and that he walked with and like the work that he didn't do, and then like the work that we had to tear out. Like, I had to tear out two showers. We had to take all the cabinets out. They templated the quartz countertop strong. So between like the money he had and the shit that we're redoing.
Was this a new guy that you've never worked with, or did you?
He was newer, so he painted our medical clinic office that I was telling you about and did a good job on that. And then he was about 70% of the way through with one of our flips. So then I gave him another deal that was about an $80,000 remodel, and that's when the wheels fell off with everything.
Dude, that is crazy.
So,
man.
but yeah, the contracting piece is challenging, man.
Well, just to rewind back a little bit on why I asked you about, why it was the nursery business, was that maybe a little bit prepared you for where you are now, is because I just met with some guy in my ward, in my church. He's like a younger 18, 19-year-old guy. He wants to get into real estate. And I did door-to-door sales for 6 years. So it's kind of the same thing, right? You knock on someone's door, you're cold call, you have that communication. So I was like, hey, man, I think you should go out for a summer and just try. That's what I told him. I said, you should probably try and up those communication skills, go sell some solar. And I recommended him, one of my bosses I used to work for. And I think that's like a good stepping stone, whether it's the nursery thing and, getting, I guess, learning how to communicate and then getting into this business. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but, I thought that helped me a lot, to communicate and do the door-to-door before I got into this.
Dude, door-to-door is like the holy grail of all sales in terms of, like, you got to man up and do it because it's face-to-face. You're on their doorstep. Like, I think door-to-door sales is as an intimidating thing as you'll ever do in your life, maybe next to public speaking.
Yeah.
But not only is it teaching you the communication skills, because you're gonna get hit with rejection immediately.
Oh.
Like, why are you on my door? Like, get out of here. Blah blah blah.
Every door is almost a different objection, right? Different person. Yeah.
So you're learning the communication skills, but also how to read people, how to deal with different personalities, which is all good. But more importantly than that is the mindset piece to it.
Oh gosh.
Like your ability to deal with rejection and your ability to just understand that it's, to separate, like, this isn't a personal thing.
100%, dude.
And the discipline of, eating shit and being told no, because on doors, you're, out of 20, maybe you get inside on a couple of them, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So just, I think the discipline and the mindset that's going to come from that and doing those reps and then showing up and just going into it knowing, like, I'm going to hear no 20 times to every one yes.
Exactly.
That's, like, invaluable.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of harping on this, because I didn't know your journey before you got into real estate, and it was like a door-to-door thing, like, pretty much.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you were cold calling, and that takes balls to, like, go into a freaking nursery in a random town and be like, let me talk to the manager. So that seems like that got you ready for what you're doing, now.
Yeah, 100%.
The relationship base. And that's kind of, I think, what got me ready for building my business is, I did the door-to-door. Before that, a lot of people here went on missions, and everyone says no. You want to hear about Jesus? They're like, get out of here. So a lot of rejection. And I think as a business owner, I mean, you got to learn the mindset, because a lot of people, I think on YouTube and Facebook and all these platforms, they see these gurus or whatever these people teach saying they got a lot of money, and they think it's easy, right? And I mean, you said you did 194 offers in a year. I'm sure that was not easy.
No, man. I remember sending our first offer almost feeling like, I hope they don't accept it, because how are we going to get the money if we buy it to flip it? If we're going to wholesale it, I don't have any buyers. Like,
that's crazy.
It was literally square one, and just the offer wasn't like, it's funny to look at it now, but the guy's response, because we're just on edge, worried about it. And then
now you aren't even tripping when you make an offer.
This is what the dude said. He's like, "What is this, an unwelcome joke?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, that wasn't that bad.
That was not that bad. What's the worst that could happen, right?"
Yeah.
When that came back, you were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and then you just, once it's just like if you're cold calling, you're hitting doors. The first few are uncomfortable, but then you get in this flow, and you just, momentum, I think, is everything. But like, just like if a train's starting, that first. As everything's, the first gears are going, just getting going's tough. But then I think once you have momentum and you can lean into that and keep it going, that's when you're really going to start to catch stuff happening.
And now when you make an offer, you're not even worried at all, right? Like if it'll come back good or if they're mad.
Yeah, not at all. Zero emotional attachment, not only to the offers, but to the deals themselves. Like, you can't. I think that's one of the number one rules in real estate. Maybe if it's your personal home, it's a little different, but like, you have to have zero emotional attachment. So I just like call them boxes. Like, they're all just a bunch of boxes. You know?
Man, that's crazy. So let's kind of talk about I want to talk about the RIAs, right? Because I went to the RIA last week, And that's my first RIA I've ever been to. The other ones, I thought I was going to RIAs, but they were just like wholesale meetups done by, I can't remember Rebecca Jensen.
Yeah.
She held some things at Club 90, and I used to go to those, and I'd be like, these are kind of weird. I don't know if I want to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Meetups for sure a little different than like a RIA.
That's what I thought the RIAs were. So I was like, I'm not going to that because, I'm not really into that. But I went, and it was good. How much do you attribute going to the RIAs to your success? Because I didn't even know about these RIAs, and I've been in this for almost 4 years.
Oh, bro, everything. Like I got my entire start at SLRIA, which is Salt Lake Real Estate Investors Association, and they have the meetings at the same place we're at right now.
And it's just once a month, right?
So they would have a night meeting once a month, but then they have a northern lunch meeting throughout the month, and then they'll have like one in the Salt Lake area, and then they'll have one. So they basically have 3 lunches a month, and then the night meeting, which is a big meeting, and they'll have a couple speakers and stuff. But no, dude, at the RIAs, like my first several deals, like I got the deal was from the wholesaler I met there. The contractor was from a contractor I met there. The hard money came from a guy I met there.
Shoot.
I met my title agent, Christina, who you know. She's done my business from day one. I met her there.
Wow.
So I pretty much I bet you my first 5 to 10 deals were all heavily involved with people that I'd met at the RIA.
Dang. So RIA is, whether it's in Atlanta RIA or Chicago or wherever, those are money.
100%, man, because like people, and this is what I talk about all the time and on my show too, but like if you're new to something, or even if you're doing something, you want to go plug into where people are doing the shit you want to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
So like if you're a new investor, or if you're just an investor in general, like you want to go to the networking groups where people are in your industry, they're doing deals. So I think that's like when anyone asks me like, hey, I'm getting into real estate, like what do you think I should do? That's literally the first thing I tell them is go join your local RIA, because like now you're plugging into the environment where what you want to do is happening.
Man, I kind of wish I would have gone more, but the wholesale meetups kind of burned me. I was like, these are.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to any of those Club
90?
Night?
I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like dark and dim. You got like some hoochies around. You're like, this is kind of weird, bro.
The Club 90 is like the cougar spot, man. I think that's like a senior citizen club.
50 and up, or you can't even get in, dude.
Yeah.
So I was there, and I'm like, I don't know, this is my scene, bro. But that kind of shot me on going to the SLRIAs. But now I get it. Like after going, I'm like, man, this is powerful. Being around people who are, beginners, middle, ballers. This is great. You can learn from all of them. So one thing I'd recommend Investor Thrive Nation, along with getting a mentor if you even need one, go to a RIA first and see if you can pick up some stuff that way.
Well, and dude, like a lot of my early on mentors who are now really, really good friends of mine, I met through RIA, right?
There you go.
Because again, if you're looking for a mentor, which is one of the best things you can do no matter what you're doing, but like that's how you're going to find a mentor. You're going to go to a place where people are doing what you want to do.
Amazing, bro. That's a nugget right there.
100%.
I had no idea. And like I said, I've been doing this for a while. The reason why I went is Christina was on the podcast last week, and she's like, you should go. And I was like, Club 90 in my head. I'm like, I don't know. And then I went, and what got me was the food. She's like, we're going to have some free food there. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. Well, there's probably, 80 people there?
Oh, man, it was great. Night? Yeah, I talked to tons of people there, and everyone was so nice, and everyone wants to help you succeed. So definitely sweet. And I'm a part of other masterminds that I paid for that are specifically wholesalers, and those are great, too. I mean, networking, I don't know if you can stress enough how important it is. It's huge.
Dude, I've built my entire business on relationships, man. Like, everything I do is relationship-based, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, and it's working out pretty well.
So, you have something else you want to say?
No, I was just relationship, like the networking, but really what you're doing is you're building your network and you're building relationships, and like you and I had a lunch, and I'm here doing the podcast and stuff, but that's awesome. Where deals are going to come from, money is going to come from, referrals are going to come from.
Yeah, I'm probably going to use you for the lending, because I write off so much of my taxes.
Yeah. I
have I have a rental that's doing pretty well, and, just like for stuff in the future, I mean, we can do business together. One thing I wanted to ask about was you said about 40 flips a month now? No, not a month, a year?
Yeah, 40.
40 would be, I don't know if anyone's doing that right now.
No, dude, I'd swallow a 9mm before I could do that for a month. So about 40 a year.
So the question I have is, there's some wholesalers that can't even produce 40 deals a year.
Mhm.
So how are you finding so many deals? Are you doing your own marketing? Are you just looking through the wholesalers list and bidding on? Like, how are you getting your 40 deals?
Just going back to what we were just talking about, relationships. So the market's like Utah's one of the most competitive market. We're the top market in the country this year, and it just gets more and more competitive. But a lot of my deal flows from relationships. Guys call me with deals, agents call me with deals. People just know who I am and what we do. Referrals. I've never really figured out the direct to seller marketing that well. We've got a new campaign the last month going that's getting some traction.
What is that?
Just like all the stuff, like the texting, cold
doing
calling,
it
all that stuff.
Someone
yeah.
running it for you, or are you trying to manage it?
I've pretty much hired trained VAs, and they're trained and operated.
Good,
And one
good,
of my
cool.
buddies, that's a service he offers, so it's a hybrid of me
Is
running
it Dave?
No, it's Matt Larson.
Matt Larson. Okay.
Yeah, but not relationships, man. We get a
That's
lot.
amazing. That many deals offer mainly relationships. You're
Yeah.
saying, dang, that's sweet, bro. And that's something I think as you're in the industry you benefit from, right? And through the networking is getting deals pretty much with no marketing spend, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm sure you give them a kick. Well, they make money if they
They have
bring
their
you a deal.
wholesale fee.
Yeah, they have their wholesale fee. And the agents, I'm assuming they get their commission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like I've got a few agents, like they know that I'm a cash buyer all the time, so they'll just be writing offers for me on deals that they see, and they make 2.5%, 3%, whatever the listing commission is. So some of those are pocket listings they're bringing to me,
okay.
or some of them are just writing offers on the MLS. Like we'll buy shit off the MLS, fairly often.
For the pocket listings, a lot of when I call agents to network with them, a lot of them are like, "Why would I do a pocket listing with you if I can just throw this thing on the MLS and make top dollar?" Right? Like, you say you get some pocket listings. Are these agents
I would tell them, well, if you throw it on the MLS and you get top dollar and you're working with another agent, you're splitting that listing commission.
Mm-hmm.
You can represent me as a buyer, so now they have the opportunity to double side the deal, and you're looking at putting another 3% in their pocket. I can promise you that's going to get their attention.
Yeah, so that's what you do. You say double dip. I'll give you the double.
You can represent me, yeah, and we have our own I'm a broker. I've got my own real estate brokerage, but you can represent me all day as my buyer's agent. Make the commission on it.
Okay. So that's how you kind of incentivize them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming they're telling their client, like, hey, I can throw this on the MLS, but I got a guy who's ready to go right now.
Yeah, it's cash. They know who I am. He does a lot of business. He's been doing it for a while. We'll do non-refundable earnest money. I just try to be easy to work with. I just want to be an easy button,
That's awesome.
But if an agent, if they do that once and then they have another deal come up where it could be a flip situation, guess who they're calling?
You,
Me.
bro. And plus the 6%, even if they sell it at much lower than they can get, that they're still making more, right?
Yeah, they're not sharing the commission.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's sweet, bro.
Or if it's just even again the relationships and having a name in the community, if someone knows that we're a buyer and they're looking at our cash offer maybe versus somebody else, and there's a relationship there. People know who I am because I've been going to the RIAs and just building my brand and everything. That carries weight too, right?
Yeah,
it's like, okay, well, we know this is a done deal versus this other person, we've never heard of them, we don't know who they are. So I think that comes into play quite a bit too.
I did hear at the RIA that you got a Ferrari.
Yeah. I just
Is
bought
that true?
Yeah, I bought a Ferrari a couple weeks ago.
No way, man.
Yeah.
See, I saw you roll up in that dope truck, and I was like, maybe they're messing, maybe they're just joking. But you have a Ferrari and the dope truck, huh?
Yeah, dude. I bought a Ferrari 488 Spider a couple weeks ago.
What year is it? Brand new, or
It's a
did you
2018.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
bet that thing flies, huh?
Well, it's been so cold in Utah, I haven't been able to really get out. When we took delivery of it, me and my wife were driving around, and I stepped on it, and it put us sideways pretty good because the tires don't get traction. In the cold weather.
You're not trying to mess around here.
Yeah, but I didn't know that because I never had one before, so it scared the shit out of me, and I was like, all right, I need to tone it down a little bit. But
So let's talk about that because that's interesting. I mean, this is lifestyle, right?
Yep.
That's why you're working hard. I'm sure a lot of people not only is Investors Drive Nation interested in this stuff, but they're probably interested in the lifestyle that you live. So why the Ferrari? Over any other car? Did you have any other ones that you were thinking about?
Well, the Ferrari, really, it's a strategic thing, man, and a marketing thing and a branding thing. So
100%, brother.
It's a Ferrari, it's badass, but I'm more of a watch guy, dude. I like watches.
What you got? What you got right now?
I'm wearing a Rolex Datejust right here.
Shoot.
But with the car, so
what was that? Just curious.
What do you mean?
The watch, how much?
It was $12,000. this one.
That feels good, don't it?
Yeah,
Like
it does.
having that on the wrist, is that like I'm the man?
Maybe not I'm the man, but it's a reminder of who I had to become to buy it. And then also, like, if I'm going to wear a watch like this, then I better be acting like a dude that wears a watch like this.
What is it? What do you mean by that? Like acting like a guy that wears a watch like that? Like a nice guy or?
Like, if I'm wearing a Rolex watch and, like, I'm not being reckless with my money, I can afford this. And, like, I know who I had to become to be in a position to drop 12 G's on a watch. Like, it's not a big deal. It doesn't, like, doesn't change my life at all. Like, it's like a trophy and a reminder, you know, plus it's an awesome watch.
Yeah,
and
that thing is slick,
like
man.
if I'm sitting down in a business meeting and someone sees that I'm wearing a Rolex, like it's a sign of success, right? So it's kind of a piece of credibility as well.
Yeah. And do you feel like things like the Rolex or the Ferrari, as you know, like, hey, I don't need those things, but they are kind of help me with the marketing. Does it help?
Yeah, man. I mean, with the watch, so I'm part of different masterminds and groups and stuff. But like the reality is if you're sitting down with someone and you notice he's got a nice Rolex watch on, you're gonna there's a level of credibility there because it's a success symbol and it's a success sign. So to circle back with the car, like, you know, we're really going heavy in scaling our mortgage company and just like, you know, I got my podcast. I'm very active on social media. I'm really building my brand and just being out there and. So yeah, it's a Ferrari, bro. No one doesn't not want to drive a Ferrari, right?
That's
like,
awesome.
So it's awesome to have it. It's cool to have it, but I'm not a huge car guy, and it's not like I've been dreaming of having a Ferrari forever. But it's a reward for myself. It's again like who I've had to become and the guy that I've had to develop and build myself into to where I can afford to buy a Ferrari, and it doesn't move the needle on my financial situation.
It didn't hurt.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing is a reward within myself, and it's cool to have it. Like I work hard, you know, I work till 2 a.m. regularly, so I can have nice shit because why not? It's part of the lifestyle thing, but also it's a very strategic thing with my brand. And if I'm trying to recruit loan officers or realtors to our company and they see I'm wearing a Rolex, they see I got, you know, 58 unit portfolio, they see what I'm doing, I'm driving a Ferrari. It's like this dude's successful, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And people want to be around success. They want to be part of success. But since I bought the car, I had 2 people to reach out to me online wanting to invest money in my deals. Wow. And it's just it's one of those things like
it'll pay itself back. Wow.
Yeah. And I have a coach that I pay I pay for his coaching, but we're friends now too, and his name's Albert Preciado. He's got the Mortgage Guys, which is a really big mortgage company in California, and he's got a brokerage too from the real estate side. So he's minus the investments, he's doing what I'm doing. And he's further down the road, and this is why mentors are so important.
Oh, gosh.
So I've hired him, and I've coached with him to learn, like, he's doing what I'm doing, but at a bigger level. And he's been telling me for the last year and a half, 2 years, like, dude, you got to get the Ferrari for the marketing. And I've watched it work out for him, too. So it's a pleasure thing, dude. But it's a very strategic marketing tool for what I'm doing.
That's so cool that you do that because I think there's a lot of people that like flex, right? And you probably see that as you're active on social media. You're like, I know that person. He doesn't. Yeah. He rented that on Turo. You know, right? Like, do you see people that are not genuine about like? I guess they're flexing.
Well, there's the renting it piece, which is just stupid. But then there's a lot to be said for just because you can afford something doesn't mean that you should. Like I could pay cash for that Ferrari 3 times over right now in the money that we have in our accounts. My cash flow covers the payment, like no problem. So just because you can afford something or maybe you can barely afford something doesn't mean you should do it. So like the marketing piece was a big reason as to why I was able to justify doing it. But I think financial literacy, and when you build a business, or when you're in business, you have to understand credit, you have to understand cash flow, you've got to understand like having reserves, like you just have to have financial literacy. Yeah. And especially from coming where I came from, building from nothing, losing 50 grand on our second deal, growing up in that small family-owned business where it's very volatile, like understanding the value of a dollar and hard work. Dude, it was so much more than just going out and buying a fucking Ferrari. Like it was a mental process. Yeah. That I had to go through with that.
That's pretty sweet. It's like a marketing play.
Yeah, you know? Man. So it's an all-around win, right? It's cool. It's like something that I can enjoy. It's a proud moment for myself. It's an inspirational piece with my message that I'm trying to share, and it's
what is your message you're trying to share?
So Freedom Lifestyle Experience is my podcast, but like my message that I've really been developing just as the more that I've been, because I spend hundreds of thousands on coaching and masterminds and self-development, and I've got 15 years of business experience now, and I'm just trying to share everything that I've learned, whether it's through all the coaching and high-level stuff or just personal experience. But as I've seen us go through COVID this last 2 years, and I've watched so many people just bitch out to this system and being told what to do and just thinking they're helpless, I've kind of gone the other way with it, and I just like fuck being average. I'm not down with all of that, like control and being told what to do. So like you're gonna get what you're gonna tolerate in life, no matter what it is. You get what you tolerate. So my message is personal accountability and staying loyal to your potential. If
Not being a victim.
Yeah, if you're being personally accountable for any and everything in your life, you're no longer a victim. Now you can be in a position of control and power. And if you're staying loyal to your potential, then you're always trying to get better. There's nothing else in this life that you can do other than personal accountability and staying loyal to your potential. And then I apply that to the lifestyle piece.
Shoot.
So that's what I'm doing. And that's why I'm doing podcasts like this. You know what I mean? I'm busy. I got a lot going on, but like you've got, like I like you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on mine, man.
Yeah, man, it's a relationship thing. I want to come drop some value. Like
yeah, and you're also marketing too, right? You know, the people can follow your podcast. We're gonna put in the description and the info you need. So we can help each other grow. Now we've been going for about 30, right? So I want to kind of wrap up but talk about coaching, right? Because most people that I talk to who are at the level you are, like they just didn't just figure it out because they just read like 1,000 books, right?
Yeah.
So how much have you spent in coaching your 10-year journey?
Oh, dude, hundreds of thousands.
You got a number? Like I'm just curious because I'm on my way. I'm up there too.
Well, I'll rip off a few things right now. So, Arate Syndicate, that's this right here. That was a $6,000 a month or $65,000.
$6,000 a month?
Yeah, so call it 70 G's for the year.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I did that, and I'm still in that.
What are they teaching you in that thing?
So Andy Frisella and Ed Milet, you know who they are?
Maybe I've heard.
You need to look into both.
I need to look into them.
Yeah, Ed Milet's the greatest speaker on the planet. He's worth $800 million. Andy Frisella is the founder of First Form. Really large supplement company. They're valued at like $3 billion. Both self-made guys. So you're coaching with them, not one-on-one in a group setting.
Yeah, most of them never do one-on-one.
Yeah, well, you'd have to pay the amount of money you'd have to pay for one-on-one. Like Ed does, he has one-on-one clients. I don't even know how much that costs, but it's got to be a lot.
Yeah.
But so a couple things with that. Like number one, I'm getting the content from two of like the top business guys in the world, but then also the group. There is 110 of us all paying that kind of money, willing to invest in ourselves like that. So like now this environment that you're putting yourself in, like that's the highest level environment I've ever put myself in.
Shoot, bro.
And the relationships that came from that.
And they kind of weed out the people who aren't ready.
It's application only. Like you got to submit an application. If your application gets accepted, then you got to pony up the money.
That's bad A.
So, but like the relationships and the network that got me, and like I do deals with people, like guys lend me money, just having like I've got a couple of guys who've become like big brothers to me. So like just the network alone is worth so much more than the money that I paid to be in the group. But then you have like the content piece too, and all the shit that you're learning, all the speakers they would bring in. So I was $70K. I'm in Mark Evans' DM mastermind group. That's $35K going to $50K. So I have that. I've done multiple Grant Cardone 10X, $10,000 tickets to his events. I was in Tim Brott's mastermind. That was 25 G's for the year. So, I mean, just those things alone were 150, 200 grand,
Totally worth it all.
Yeah, bro. Like, I can directly correlate, like, the more that, and it's not a money thing either. And, like, if you guys are listening, really hear me here. It's not like, oh, I need to go spend 70 grand to learn and whatever. Like, if you heard of what I said earlier, Slaria is where I got my start. It was $100 for the year, but I was putting myself in a new environment where I was learning and I was a small guy. So this doesn't mean
So you're saying there's tiers to this?
Oh, yeah, dude, 100%. And it's not like you just jump straight into that, but, like, as you grow and as you learn, the new information that you need costs more money. Like if you want to get plugged into higher level environments, that shit, like it's levels, right? It costs money to do that. There's groups out there that you got to pay $1 million a year to be in. I don't know about them because I'm not on that level, right? But so it's levels.
You will, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing.
There's levels to everything. But what I was saying is I can directly look at the more time and money that I invest in myself, the more money that I make, the better my life gets, the better my relationships are, that everything gets better. So the more that I invest in me, the better everything else
Are they
gets.
dropping like some amazing like morning routine or schedule where you're like, if you do it, you just see automatic results, or is it mainly just being in the network and learning, consistently growing with these guys?
It's the network, man, and like at the end of the day, you just realize like you could be sitting with a guy that's worth $100 million, and he's just a regular fucking dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about him other than they execute, and they're constantly, like, to go back to what I'm saying, they're like taking accountability for everything, and they're staying loyal to their potential. They're always trying to do more, get better, like refine their systems, their processes. You got to have balls. They're taking risk. But really, it's just consistency over time. Like these guys that I've met in my life, they're extremely successful. Like they've put in their time and they've taken risks, but they've just done the work and they've won the day over and over and over. And you stack a week together, a month together, a year together, a decade together, 2 decades together, and you're just consistently doing the work and trying to refine through that process.
I got a question, one last question about the masterminds. Is there a time where you're in a mastermind, you're like, hey, I've kind of moved on from this group. I think I can go to a higher level. And there's no hard
100%.
feelings. You're just like, hey, I'm moving.
Dude, not only masterminds, but there's relationships like that too. Like what got you here is not going to get you there. And like not everyone's coming on the journey with you. And you see that with friends. You see it with family.
Have you seen that happen in your personal life?
Oh, dude, like dozens of times over, like that's just the way it is. Like as you grow, like
so me and Hector, our sound guy, might not be hanging out in a couple of years.
Not everyone's coming with you, bro, because just not everyone is, And as you grow, if you're growing and the environment that you're in, if they're not growing and you're growing, you're gonna start having this gap, and then you're gonna lose interest, right? And then it's either gonna be weird for you, or they're gonna feel like you're better than them because there's this gap now because you're growing and they're not. It's just part of the deal, man. It happens on a personal level. It happens on a business level. But like the guy that's going to teach you how to make $100,000 a year probably isn't the dude that's going to teach you how to make $500 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that helps you get to $500 a year is probably not the dude that's going to tell you how to get to $1 million a year. So you constantly have to be upgrading your environment and your information. And part of that's who you're listening to, right?
Yeah. Is there a goal you're trying to reach where, like a ceiling where you're like, hey, once I get this, no more masterminds. I'm good. I've hit where I want to be. Or you just love the journey and you just keep going and going and going.
Dude, I love the journey and I love the process. I'm a relationship guy, so like I've got strong relationships, and I'm slowing down on a lot of the coaching and different things I'm doing. I've got my Arate group that I really like. I really like the DM fam with Mark Evans, and then I'm starting to do just more of trying to create the space myself. So, especially here locally, trying to be the guy instead of going and looking for the guy. So we're doing our monthly meetups. I got my podcast. I'm probably going to start doing like some, weekend workshops on flips and different things, and just trying to spread my message.
That's sweet, bro.
But yeah, dude, like I said, man, like if you're staying personally accountable to everything, and you're staying loyal to your potential, you're always trying to do better. Like everything else will take care of itself.
That's what's up, brother. So, hey, we got to stay connected because you going places. It sounds like it.
Let's do it, bro.
That's awesome, man. Well, this has been awesome. I feel like it's provided a lot of value. Hector, I don't know if many comments came through, but they couldn't even think of what to ask because the value was too strong, brother.
Yeah. No, man, it's like walking away with the show. I think mindset. Doesn't matter what vehicle you're in. If you're wanting to do wholesaling, like you're talking about, if you're wanting to do flipping, mortgage, buy and holds, whatever it is, there's all these awesome vehicles that can drive 100 miles an hour, that can get you all sorts of money. But like if you don't know how to get it out of park, it doesn't matter what vehicle you're in, and that's where the mindset comes into play, and like the personal identity. So
yeah,
it's about more than just like learning to flip houses, because like if you don't have the mindset of like I need to build the relationships, or you don't have the mindset of like what's gonna happen when shit goes wrong, or you've got a flood, or you have a $10,000 sewer line that you weren't planning.
So mindset is huge. I'm assuming that you've learned through your coaching, and as you've grown, like they're hit on that about probably a ton.
It's the foundation of everything, man. Like mindset and attitude and relationships.
Yeah, because Investor Thrive Nation, like, well, that's what I'm doing is I'm teaching people how to basically learn how to get into wholesaling, fix and flip, just the generic base stuff. I'm not some crazy guy that's up there, charging people $1 million or, maybe one day, we can be in that $1 million group where if we ever find it, right? But I think, like you said, there's tiers of that stuff, and it's important to get started. I talk to a ton of people that want to like learn about what I do for coaching, and they're in this analysis paralysis. They just watch videos and they're just like consuming information, but they haven't even made a call to a seller yet.
Yeah, dude, they're worried about their business card and their logo and their LLC and their website, and like I always tell everyone that none of that shit matters. Like, go find a deal. Like, go find a motivated seller. And those are just distractions because they're scared of doing the true work.
Yeah, I had one guy hit me up. I'm like, so what have you done so far to get your real estate business set up? He said, I hired a graphic designer to build me a sweet logo.
Yeah.
I'm like, brother.
Yeah.
Like, that ain't getting you even remotely close to getting a deal. That's not even important.
Bro, I don't have a business card. No, I do not have a
Your brother does. He gave me one.
Yeah, I don't have a business. Like, none of that shit matters, man. Build relationships, go talk to people, and find solutions for people. If someone's in a distressed situation and you can come help them and provide them a solution, that's all you're looking to do. Like, go find people that need help, that are in a rough situation, and provide a solution to them, and you're going to get paid for it.
That's awesome, bro. Well, it's been super valuable, and honestly, like, we might need to have you back, bro.
I'm down to do it anytime.
If you had a good time, then we'll have to have you back. I think you provide a lot of value. So, Investor Drive Nation, we want to thank Michael Burns for coming on here and crushing it, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, man.
See you guys. Oh, go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, my Instagram's shut down right now, but I put out a ton of content on my social media every day. So on Facebook, I'm at Mr. Michael Burns. And then check out my podcast, Freedom Lifestyle Experience, if you kind of like the message I was talking about today with the mindset, relationships, coaching, all that shit. Like, that's the stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah, bro.
And, listen to Nathan, what he's got going on. Because like you said, there's,
levels to this.
Well, there's levels to everything, but like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like, just get on the wheel, and a guy like this can help you get on the wheel and help you get started and rolling.
100%. So we'll put your stuff in the description. Cool. And just send it to me so I can just know exactly what to put in there. And then let's grow your network, because honestly, from this podcast, it sounds like your net worth is your network, right? Or your network is your net worth.
100%.
So let's freaking grow it, brother.
All right, man.
All right. See you guys later.
Later.